Xenomorphs have terrorized every science fiction fan since the first time they saw Alien. Whether it's a space station or the depths of an unknown pyramid, these xenomorphs seem to survive it all. But what about water? With the ocean covering most of our planet, one might consider that perhaps water would provide safety that they seem not to get on land. After all, we all saw those weird aliens from Signs who were allergic to water. However, when it comes to xenomorphs, luck is not on our side. Today we'll be looking into a very particular xenomorph in question, known as the Aquatic Giant Xenomorph, and discuss its origin and what makes it so terrifying. So let's get comfortable and get to it. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. What are xenomorphs, and why are they terrifying? Before we delve deep into the aquatic xenomorphs, let's brush up on what we know about actual xenomorphs and why they are such terror-inducing creatures. While the layman terms for these creatures is aliens, the proper name for these extraterrestrial species is Xenomorph XX121. They are an extremely aggressive endoparasitoid species, and they do not care much about anything else other than propagating their life. Like wasps or bees, these xenomorphs follow a eusocial lifestyle. They have a fertile queen who basically lays eggs, and from these eggs, we get the subordinate castes, who we see attacking our main characters most of the time. Humans are considered to be at the top of the food chain, but when we introduce xenomorphs into that particular food chain, you can bet your bottom dollar that humans would no longer hold that place. These xenomorphs are more than happy to go all out on whichever species they deem to be dangerous for their growth, and humans are on their hit list. Other than humans, these aliens also have a very tense relationship with the Yautja, aka the predators. As xenomorphs are extremely hard to kill, the Yautja consider these aliens to be highly worthy prey. So young Yautjas partake in an almost ritualistic hunt where they have to go up against the xenomorphs to mark their coming of age, so to speak. Now, what makes these xenomorphs terrifying? Other than the fact that they have a hard mesoskeleton, which is incredibly hard to damage, these aliens also come with acid blood. So even if you did manage to hurt it, you would probably die or get gravely injured if you come into contact with the blood. Xenomorphs are born from eggs. When these eggs hatch, what comes out of it is known as a facehugger. It's like a weird spider-like creature, and as you can guess, it wraps itself around the face of whichever organism it gestates with. When it comes to term after being implanted inside this very living host, the baby xenomorph bursts out of the chest violently. If a xenomorph gestates within a human, once it comes out of the chest and reaches adulthood, it takes a bipedal humanoid form, reaching up to 7 feet in height. Other than how terrifying they look and how vicious they are, one of the biggest scare factors of these aliens has to be their inner pharyngeal jaw. So they have a big mouth, and inside that, they have a smaller mouth that juts out like a piston. The force with which it juts out is enough to crush through bones and metal. We often see this at play whenever the xenomorph is attacking its prey. It would usually immobilize the prey with its arms, and then, with a precision jaw strike, it would kill off the prey. Colloquially, we call this attack a head bite. So now that we all understand just what a big threat this species is, let's look at the aquatic xenomorph. The aquatic xenomorph, an analysis. The first time we come across these aquatic xenomorphs is in the 1993 comic book series titled Aliens: Colonial Marines. This comic book picks up the story right after the destruction of the Charon base. Throughout the story, we follow this group of Marines who are not really Marine-like in their behavior and decorum. They do not respect their superiors, they have all been marked for their undisciplined actions, and their egos are far bigger than their fighting spirit. Basically, it's the worst group of Marines you can think of. They're brought together under the command of Lieutenant Joseph Henry, who, just like his team, is not the best lieutenant out there. Together, the entire group ends up in a pickle when what was supposed to be a very simple mission takes a grave turn. Lieutenant Henry and his team were supposed to go and take care of the toxic waste dump for months. However, when they reached that place, what greeted them were not excited crew members, but a bunch of xenomorphs. These Marines have never heard of teamwork before, and as I said, bravery is not really a thing for them. So while the Xenomorphs show up in front of them, all these Marines can do is go into shock, unable to lift a finger. Luckily, Henry and the sergeant managed to get a group under their control mid-fight, and that led to Henry realizing that things were not as easy as they seem. They eventually end up in Bracken's world, which is an agricultural colony in space. By this time, the Marines know that the threat that they are going up against is far worse than just Xenomorphs. Apparently, there is a growing cult of Xenomorphs and human hybrids, which the Marines refer to as Bugmen. They got ambushed by these Bugmen when they reached a checkpoint in Bracken's world, the Alphatech hardware, which made it very clear to them that the stakes were high. When they were on their way back to the human settlement in Bracken's world, the Marines had to go over acres of kelp farms. The net below the kelp was strong enough to be trodden upon, and that is what they were doing. Right then, out from the water came out a huge Xenomorph. This Xenomorph is the Aquatic giant Xenomorph. It immediately snatched up the Marine closest to it, pushing the entire time to get on top of the vehicle that they were covering. This turned out to be a good call because more and more aquatic Xenomorphs started coming out. The Marines barely managed to survive this brutal attack, but they were not going to give in. They tried telling the government about it, but it was very clear that the corporation in charge of Bracken's world had no interest in discussing the rising alien infestation, and it's implied that the cult of Bugmen has infiltrated this group of higher officials. So, with no other choice, the Marines decide to go on an all-out war. As they waited around the Bracken's world storm rails, the Xenomorphs started attacking them as a group. The more they fought back, the sooner the Marines realized that the acid from the Xenomorph's blood was eating away the storm wall, which was keeping everyone safe from them. While they kept shooting at the oncoming Xenomorphs, hope really seemed to be lost for a second when the storm wall fell, and through the gap, more Xenomorphs swarmed in. That's when the Marines realized that these Xenomorphs did not like fire, so now the plan was to burn them alive. But how to do that? Well, the Marines started a chemical fire. This fire soon spread all over the acres of kelp, burning them completely and burning out oxygen as well. This caused the Xenomorphs to come out and get burnt to crisps. While the Marines did manage to save the day, it was very evident that the battle had just started, as their main ship, Melville, was blown to smithereens. What the Marines didn't know was that their friend, Beach, who was up there, was affected by the Queen's royal jelly, and that led him to being trapped in a hallucination of him running away on a bicycle from an alien while the ship re-entered the orbit, burning up immediately. What sets them apart from other Xenomorphs? One of the main things that you would notice about the Xenomorphs is that they have a huge lobster-like tail fan. They also have 3 pairs of swimming legs, known as pleopods, which were clearly used to propel them forward. While all Xenomorphs can swim to a degree, these Xenomorphs are created specifically to be better at swimming. While its lower half is very different from a standard Xenomorph, the upper body of an aquatic Xenomorph is very similar to its terrestrial counterpart. These aliens possess a dark mesoskeleton like a standard Xenomorph, but their mesoskeleton has a blue hue to it. They also have shorter dorsal tubes and tendrils that hang from the side of their lower jaw, very much like the Queen Mother. But unlike the Queen Mother's tendrils, these are not as big. Now, it could very well be possible that these aquatic Xenomorphs are a type of Praetorian, that is, the kinds who are royal guards of the Queen. These Praetorians are the final life stages of a typical Xenomorph, which would operate outside the hive group, with the main focus being on protecting the hive and the queen. Unlike other Xenomorphs, these Praetorians usually stand at around 10 feet tall, and as we can see, these aquatic Xenomorphs are definitely around 10 feet big. Also, they attack in groups, which is usually a tactic followed by the Praetorians. While this could be a possibility, it's also possible that these Xenomorphs behave this way because of the DNA reflex where the Xenomorph adapts features from the host species, or perhaps they were rather created this way by genetic modulations. As transbred Praetorians are quite rare to find in the wild, it's very likely that these Xenomorphs were created by genetic modifications instead. Marvelous verdict. And there we have it, guys. As it turns out, we'll never be safe from Xenomorphs, no matter where we are. All it needs to do is get a new host to gestate in, and the new variant that would pop out would adapt to the environment. Even though when these xenomorphs travel in a group, they remind me of manta rays, I don't think they are nearly as lovable as the manta rays we're shown to be in Moana. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you all the next time. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.